This is the Hitch Bar Reverse and LED Floodlight Kit, and it is available for all 2017 and newer F-250s at home. Now you guys should be checking out this extremely useful bar if you tow or camp frequently with your Super Duty, or are just looking for a huge upgrade in lighting and visibility from the rear during the nighttime. Now this bolts-on kit will fit your factory hitch and does include lighting on both the front and sides of the American-made bars, along with all of the wiring and hardware needed for the install, all for right around that low to mid $900 price point. So this little kit is really big on features, especially for you Super Duty owners out there who tow or camp frequently, or maybe you just need some extra lighting at night on the work site or just in general. Now the kit does revolve around the two 7-inch bars here that do mount to your factory hitch, still allowing full use of that hitch, of course, and when wired up, will give you 270 degrees of illumination from the rear-facing LEDs and 47 degrees of down-angled LED lighting from the total 4 mounted on the side here, making for a grand total of 6,000 lumens of lighting, which is extremely bright. Now this is sure to make hooking up your trailer or camper at night just a much easier task, and in addition to that, will also make backing up your F-250 at night much easier as well, as you can choose to tie these in with your reverse lights if you want, or on a separate switch with the included wiring. Now, finally guys, the kit will give off a clean OEM quality vibe or look when installed, thanks to the black construction and the included end caps here. All right, moving into construction, and again, this kit is 100% American made, from things like the 3/16" tubular steel here, which is powder coated black, of course. Now those bars do play home to the high powered white Osram LEDs with a 50,000 hour life expectancy and an IP67 waterproof rating. Now the lens is actually heated here, and that's great because it will help melt any snow or ice. And the bars do include the 3D printed carbon infused end caps for a very finished look. Now, the hitch kit will feature a simple 1-bolt install per side here, along with the 25 feet of included wiring for a no splice installation, as we'll show you guys here in a little bit. Now your price point for the hitch bar is going to land around that low to mid $900 ballpark, which is right in line with other similar kits that you might encounter here or maybe somewhere else. All right, last but not least, let's move into our installation segment, and the site is gonna call this a pretty easy 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter here, taking you, I would say, at least an hour to get everything installed and wired up from start to finish. Now to give you a better idea of how this one might go down in the garage or driveway at home, let's throw it out to the shop for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
For this install, you will need an impact, 10 and 14 millimeter sockets, 14 millimeter wrench, angle cutters, wire strippers and crimpers, flathead screwdriver, and also not shown here, but for the way we did it, a switch, various wiring and connectors, and also some zip ties.
What's up guys, today we're going to be doing some floodlights on our F-250, so let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is come to the end of our hitch and pop off these covers. You've got a flathead screwdriver, just going to pop those out. And we'll do the same thing for the other side. So next, you want to make sure you clean out any crud or debris that might be in there just sitting. Once you've got that done, we'll get our floodlight, and on the mounting side of it, we want to add in these little damper pads. They're going to go in the corners of our hitch. Maybe a little bit tricky to get in at first. May only need one for each side. Now we can add in our mounting hardware to our bracket on the back side. Now depending on the model of your truck or the year, sometimes they cut the ends of your hitch a little bit more flush, but if you notice that your bracket doesn't quite sit flush with the rear of the frame, what we can do use one of the extra provided washers, get that behind our bracket. We'll add in our provided bolt flat washer, Into the back side, another flat washer, and our provided lock nut. Now once you've got your hardware in place, we're going to grab a 14mm socket on our impact and a 14mm wrench. We'll do our best to center this bolt, and we'll tighten this down. Once you have this side in, you can do the same thing for the other side. And once you have both your lights installed, you want to grab your harness, and we're going to plug in our 2-wire connector on each of our lights. Now we're just going to be using the straight through portion of our harness. This other connector will not be used for this application. This is for add-ons. So we'll go ahead and pop this into place. And we'll fasten that on. Lock that in. We'll do the same thing for the other side. Now our next step is going to be to send our harness up front to the engine bay where we can wire it. Now we're not going to secure this up and out of the way just yet. We want to make sure we have enough slack for where we need to go. The only thing you want to make sure of at this point is that your harness does go over top of your exhaust, because we're going to be running along the frame rail, and this portion of your exhaust is going to prevent that if it's not over top. Once you've got this section over the exhaust, take the rest of our harness, get it up around the wheel, and we'll work it up to the front. All right, so now we've got the other end of our harness up to the front of our vehicle, and we need to get into the engine bay with it. The easiest spot to do that is behind our fender liner. We're gonna take our harness and just put a good bit of it up into the engine bay. Now we'll go under the hood into the engine bay and get that through and start setting everything up. All right guys, so now we're up in the engine bay. Now if your vehicle is equipped with the upfitter switches, you're gonna wire it in designated to that procedure, whichever switch you want it to be on. Again, we're only using the red and black wires. The white and green are for additional add-ons that are not included with your kit. But since our model does not have upfitter switches, we're going to show you how to wire it in with a simple on-off switch that works just as well. All right guys, so since we're wiring ours up to a standalone switch, which is not included with the kit, you're going to need some lengths of wire. So we've got enough cut to reach from inside our cab, where we're going to pass these wires through to locate our switch, all the way over from the driver's side to the passenger side so we can connect everything else up. We're going to pass these through the firewall at the large grommet by our brake booster first. Now it's pretty hard to see, but if you're looking right down by it, it's going to be directly to the right of your master cylinder. Now you want to make sure you're using at least like a 16 gauge wire, or even a 14 would be fine. You don't want to use too thin of a wire. You don't want this to burn up, do anything like that. Take our wire, move our grommet out of the way. Once we've got a good portion of that into our cab, we'll go in there and hook our switch part up. Then we can pass the rest of this over to the passenger side and get everything hooked up to the battery and our main harness. All right, so now we've come inside our cab and we've got our 2 wires. Now, if you need to locate those, again, this is pretty hard to see from outside of it, but if you come right to the right side of your parking brake, that grommet is going to line up right with that. You just want to pull these through. Now you can pull a good bit through so you can work with these first. What we're going to do is add 2 female spade connectors, because that's going to plug into our 2-pin switch that we have. Now as far as your switch goes, you can mount this or grab any style of on-off switch that you would like. This one in particular, you would need to drill a hole into your dash panel and clip that in. For demonstration purposes, we're not drilling into our dash, but we'll go ahead and get our connectors in place and get our switch plugged in. We've got our wire strippers. Expose some of that wire. Do that for both. Once we have those exposed, give them a little twist just to take care of any stragglers. It keeps your wire nice and straight. Makes it a lot easier to go into your connector.
that in. And then we'll bring back our tool. Use a solid crimp. I like to give them a little light tug afterwards just to make sure that connection is secure. We'll do the same thing for our other wire. Secure. Now it doesn't matter which of these you plug either one of your spade connectors into. This is simply going to complete the circuit that we're going to connect to the battery. Both of those plug in. Then you can pull back your excess wire, and again, you can mount your switch any way that you choose. We'll tuck that back into place. All right, so now we're back out to our engine bay. We've got our wires generally pulled over to where we need them. Now, one of our wires coming off our switch is going to plug into our positive wire on our harness. The other is going to connect to the positive battery terminal. That's going to give power once we turn our switch on, and it'll shut power off once we turn our switch off. The black wire of our main harness is going to go directly to the negative battery terminal. That's going to ground out our circuit. Now we're going to connect our main harness to our switch first. To do that, we're going to have a male and female spade connector. And once again, none of this additional wiring is included with your kit, but is easily available at any auto parts store for pretty cheap. Strip this wire out just as we did before. Add our male spade connector to this side. Crimp that down. Get that on. We'll come to our positive wire on our harness. Now these do come pre-stripped. We just need to add in our connector. Make sure that seat's in there nice and good. Put that down. Plug that in. Okay. I'm going to take our other wire. Add in a ring terminal to the end of this one. Once again, expose some wire. Twist. This wire is going to connect to our positive battery terminal. We've got our 10mm socket on our impact. We'll take this nut off. Add in our ring terminal. Reinstall that nut. Come to our negative wire, add in our ring terminal. Again, that's the black wire. The white and green are not being used. Crimp that down. Make sure that's good. And once again, we'll take our 10mm socket. Nut off. Be very careful not to drop this.
10mm socket. Tighten that down.
Now once you have this hooked up, you can tuck the excess wiring away any way you see fit. You can also add in an additional inline fuse if you so choose. That kind of adds a little bit of a safety factor to your harness. Now I would recommend adding that in between the switch and the battery if you are going to do that. Again, not included with your kit, but easily available at most auto parts stores. And as far as tucking your wiring away, you can kind of make this your own. You can tuck it up under your cowl, add some loom to it, make it a nice clean look. Again, that's all up to you.
All right guys, so now we need to secure our harness up and out of the way. So we're gonna run this along the back of our frame, around our spare tire, and then up the passenger side frame rail. We'll start here. Now you will need some zip ties or something to secure this. Again, this is not included with your kit. You can pick these up at any hardware store or automotive store. Secure this first portion right here. There's plenty of openings and holes along the frame and things of that nature to secure this too. And you kind of have freedom to make it your own. Once you have your zip tie in place, you can take some angle cutters, cut off the excess, and then we'll do the same thing for the other side to get our plug section situated, and we'll run the rest of the harness up along the passenger frame rail.
Alrighty folks, that about wraps up our review and install of our hitch bar reverse 7-inch LED floodlighting and heavy duty bolt-on blacked out kit for your 17 to current F250 Super Duty. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything F250, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.